Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. Today we're celebrating another STAMPtember exclusive with This Calls for Confetti, Unbelievably Bigfoot. This 6x8 stamp set and coordinating dies is perfect for lots of different cards. I think it's a very unique set. We're going to pair it with some nested domed arches to create this kind of mystical see-through type of scene card, not a shaker like I have done before, but just something with vellum as a layering element to make it kind of, that little bit of translucent where you can see it, but it's still kind of in the background. I thought that would work really well for Bigfoot. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have seen Bigfoot a lot in different, stamp things, die cut things, even in like the cross stitch world, the quilting world. So it must be very popular right now. And I think these are great cards for like guys or anyone who kind of likes that kind of, Bigfoot type of thing, or the Yeti or whatever. I just really like it. I am using several colors of Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink to ink up this 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel. And I definitely wanted it to go from my deep dark blues to those kind of aqua turquoisey shades. So I am combining a couple or 3 different colors rather here for my background. This is going to be inside of the framed up scene, but I want it to cover most of that area. That is so pretty. I'm going to set that aside to completely dry while I stamp my elements from the Unbelievably Yeti stamp set. Now, I think this tree is fantastic for obviously this card, but it could also be used for so many different holiday scenes or whatever. I think these are fantastic trees. I am stamping them in Kale color Positively Saturated ink, and I will also stamp 4 more with the Artichoke color. I want a couple of shades of green so that when I build my forest for Bigfoot, that we have some variety in our green trees. I like to just switch out my paper. I have some 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panels here, and so I'm stamping 2 of them, and I really need to re-ink that Artichoke ink, it looks like, and switch it around to the other side. Now, I use Artichoke all of the time. So I love that there's re-inkers for these. I'm just going to stamp it like multiple times here, but please remind me off camera that I need to go grab my re-inker and refill my ink pad. Then I'm going to set those aside, die cut those here in a minute, and I am going to stamp the Bigfoot with some mocha colored ink and the moon with honey ink. Once we have all of our components, we're going to be ready to start building this scene. This is a super fast and easy card as well. There is no stamp layering, there is no coloring. So if you're looking for a quick design, I think this definitely fits the bill. And sometimes a card doesn't have to take hours and hours to be super fun. Now, I did have to perform a little bit of stamp surgery again on my greeting to make it work with my design. And I hope that this inspires you, or encourages you maybe is the better term, that if you need to do that with your stamps, that is okay. There are no rules. So as I was looking at the greetings from the stamp set, I wanted to do a happy birthday, you're a real legend. Obviously, to a real legend, pardon me. Obviously that fits perfectly, but happy birthday was just a little too big, and I really wanted it to stack into 3 rows of text. So I simply cut apart happy birthday. It'll go back together very easily in a stamp positioner if you want to stamp it horizontally. And I am going to stamp those right on the cover of my window. I was going to do clear embossing ink, so I'm going to wipe away the powder, but I decided to do my cotton white StazOn instead. I think that it gives a little bit more of a crisp image. Often when you do the embossing powder, I love embossing powder, but I do think that sometimes it makes kind of the text spread out just a little bit, or doesn't make the lines quite as crisp. On the background of my panel now, I am stamping the stars from the stamp set with clear embossing ink and heat embossing those with white embossing powder. And then I'm going to kind of use my frame as a guide and glue my moon down. I'm using my frame and all of the time, so I know where to stamp things. Now there's two different stamp or star images in this stamp set. I used one on the background with clear embossing ink and heat embossed with white embossing powder. On the vellum, now we're going to do another layer of these stars. I am going to stamp these with the cotton white StazOn again. So I'm just going in, stamping it. Oh, that one I just stamped, never gonna see it. So let's stamp another one. And I'm using an acrylic block for this, much quicker and easier. And I think that looks good. Okay, it's time to start adding our trees. For this, I am going to be putting all of my trees flat to the background, and we're gonna pop up the Yeti inside of our scene. So I'm going to start kind of with my focal point or center highest tree, and we're going to build out our forest from there. I love the look the vellum gives this. Now, even though I did not make this a shaker card today, if you want to make this a shaker, it could very easily become one. We're going to put this tree over here to the side. Just checking how my forest is looking. Now I do want to save a couple of trees at least for the front of my scene. And that is to kind of continue on and continue giving this card that depth and dimension. And I want my, I think I said Yeti, but I want my Bigfoot, pardon me, to be peeking in from the side of our little scene, almost like he's waving to say happy birthday. I think he is just so clever. Now around the frame, I'm happy with my trees now. I am going to place some double-sided adhesive. You can use glue if you want to. I do find sometimes liquid glue makes the vellum curl up. So if possible, I do try to stick to a tape or a double-sided adhesive, a tape runner, something of that effect. I'm also going to snip off that tree so it doesn't interfere with the look I'm trying to create. We're going to place our frame right down there over our vellum piece. And then I'm going to put some foam on the back of our Bigfoot. Now, part of him probably will need to get cut off. It looks like maybe his feet. I'm not going to use the whole thing. I want him more to be like peeking through, waving hello, if that makes sense, rather than having him standing amongst the trees, which would be fine as well. Now, I will say I I did it flat on there. I attached this tree and then I attached the rest of them sticking down inside the frame. I actually was able to kind of pull that tree up and fix it. So in the finished photos, you will notice that tree over on the right is kind of tucked down inside of the frame, which looks a lot better. I'm snipping these trees off a little bit and then just tucking them down. So again, I want it to very much look like he's peeking. See how that tree just looks off? I don't know how I didn't notice that till after this video was filmed, I don't think. So now that I'm happy with that, let's position Bigfoot. Oh, that's cute. And let's attach him inside of our inside of our scene card. Goodness gracious. And then we're going to go around the edges with some foam. And this foam roll is from Simon Says Stamp. I love it. A lot of foam rolls that I've used in the past, the backing is kind of hard to get off. The backing on this just peels right off. I know that's such a silly small thing, but I love it. And again, I have it all right up next to each other, so if I wanted to make it a shaker, it definitely could be. But I like that depth and dimension the foam gives this scene. Look at that. Also, lifting the text up off of the background makes it much easier to read. Now, before I attach it, I did replace the die cut panel that I had cut from my frame just to protect my vellum and everything. And I'm doing a very minimal amount of the black or the onyx silk spatter all over, just kind of up there in the upper left and along the right side and the bottom, just a little bit. And I thought about doing it on the inside, but I'm glad I decided not to. I like that little bit on the frame. It makes it a little less perfect. Okay, we're going to replace that or place the frame right on the background. Looks like I needed to add one more foam square. And there is my card. Now I just need to place this on a white top fold card base, but I noticed I had a small smudge from my finger along the right side of the card. If you have one of the sand erasers, this is a great time to use it. I find that that sand eraser will remove the majority of that smudge. And right as I'm getting ready to place my card panel on my card base, I was like, oh, that tree. So I very carefully popped it up. I'm going to just snip off a little bit of the bottom, tuck it down into the frame, and re-glue it down. And I like that so much better. So we'll add a little glue. And that is it, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today for this STAMPtember limited edition exclusive from This Calls for Confetti called Unbelievabley Bigfoot. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new video. Thanks for watching!